What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Preppers Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with for the week, and this week is no exception. And if it seems a little bit weird right now, it's because I can't actually hear the background music, so my timing was probably fully off, and it totally threw me off my head game from how I normally introduce the stream. So, hey, did I say that? Did I say it wrong? You know, it's really funny how you can easily say things wrong whenever you don't have the same triggers. You know, we're all just habit-driven machines, or, you know, pattern-driven machines in the end. So, it's David from System Preppers Live. Is that what I said? Man, I tell you, it's a mess. I can't hear anything right now, so I'm totally disoriented. I think this is going to be a terrible stream. If you're wondering why I can't hear anything right now, it's because these are Bose QC35 headphones, and I have them wired in, but apparently if you don't have them charged, then you can't actually hear anything, even though it's a wire connection. So, yeah. You look great today, David. Thank you. I look great. Well, that's great, I guess, right? I'm not really trying. Anyway, hello to Mr. Operator Case. He got his plus O there. Hi, you're doing fine. Thanks, Mike. All right, let me say hello to the folks who are here so far. Why am I using Bose headphones? Because Jimmy's headphones weren't available. That's why. I don't know who I'm talking about. So hello to Big Edie, Nakotani, Arnaud, Waxier Tape, E-Beam, Fade, Judy, Eric, Glenn, Purple G, Dave. Let's see, who else am I seeing here? Obviously, Case, Alternate Ved. I think that's it, right? Don't say that, Case. Give me a break. Also on the YouTube side, I got Anders, Arnaud's on both places, and then Mike. Nice to see you all. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Damn it, Jimmy. Yes. Hello to Harrigan in the IRC. Okay. So, I guess that you probably saw that there was Trev. Oh, I'm very sorry, Trev. I didn't mean to skip you. It wasn't because you're always complaining to me about Visible Bell. In fact, let me just go ahead and fix that right now. Set Q Visible Bell hot tub stream. Well, maybe that's better. Who knows? Yeah, here you go, Trev. Visible Bell nil. What was I going to say? Yeah, you probably noticed there was a stream on Wednesday. I didn't really tell anybody there was going to be a stream on Wednesday. If you were in the IRC, you probably figured out that I was doing a stream on Wednesday because I said it about an hour before. But it's just an experiment. I've been saying for a while that I wanted to do more coding streams. I mean, obviously today's stream would be a coding stream too, but the one on Wednesday was a little bit different. The idea is that I want to have like a more long-term project or number of projects that we work on, and try to build something a little bit bigger than what we were able to do on a 1 week or one stream per week basis. So the current tentative plan is to stream on Monday and Wednesday around the time that I streamed for on Wednesday this week, which is basically 9:30 a.m. my time. That is Eastern European time, which is UTC +2 for those of you who like UTC time zones. So it probably doesn't work for a lot of you who watch this stream because you're asleep at the time. I'm sorry for that, but I'm awake at that time, and that's a convenient time for me. So unfortunately, that's the time that I have to do it. Generally, the streams will be about 2.5 hours long, maybe 3 hours long. But I don't intend for people to watch the VODs unless you really want to watch the VOD, the recording of the stream. It might be fun to watch the recording of the stream. I don't know, but the intent of these streams is not necessarily to produce a VOD for you to watch. It's more to make progress on a project and then try to produce videos out of the material that come out of that. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a short that I released, 2 days ago, which is a little short, just me talking about whether to use PostgreSQL versus SQLite when starting a project. Not the greatest short in the world, not the greatest information in the world, but I created that by clipping it from the stream. And I've also got another one that I think is getting published tomorrow morning. So there's 2 shorts that came out of it. I've also edited a third video, a normal video for the sort of discussion we had about fibers for Guile. And the only thing remaining for that is just a thumbnail. So I just need to finish the thumbnail and I'll post it, I don't know, in a day or 2. And then there's gonna be another video. I know, it's a lot of videos, right? Which actually goes through the development of the project, okay? So, do you salute your shorts? No, I don't. But I remember the theme song. I'm not gonna sing it though. So, anyway. Why are shorts? Why indeed? Alternate Vet says, are there plans for improving the bridge chat situation? Yeah, I want to do that on the streams, but haven't got around to it yet. Anyway, point being, the streams are meant to be a way for me to create programming content because that seems to be what people do these days. They have streams and they clip things out of it and make content out of it. And I'm trying to do the same thing, but I want to do it in a way where the content's actually valuable to some degree. So bear with me for a little while until I figure the whole strategy out and make it better. You know, I'm trying it out for the first time here. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but now I'm actually doing it. It might be a little bit rough at first. The quality of the content may not be so good at first, but I'm learning. And with your help, those of you who are able to join those streams on Monday and Wednesdays during the week, your questions and your participation definitely help me a lot to understand what questions people want answered and to kind of frame a discussion. So, Omar says JPM is now merged into Geeks. That's awesome. Great. Morgan says, short suggestion, how I learned to love ERC configuration. Well, I use RCIRC, so I can't really make that video, can I? But you could tell me why you love it, Morgan, if you do. ACDW, yes, I just called you that. Case says, I don't get why YouTube wants shorts to be such a thing. There's value to shorts. If you spend enough time on YouTube, then you realize you actually do end up watching some shorts because they put them in your face. But I think there's value to shorts. I see shorts like a tweet. If you want to think about the website formerly known as Twitter, a short is kind of like just a small little clip. The value, you get the low attention span viewers. I don't really know. I don't think it's necessarily about getting a low attention span viewers. I think it's a way for you to get just some small little dose of information that you might be interested to see throughout the day. And also, it is a way for toilet views, says Trev. Yes, let's keep it above the toilet area. It might be a way for people to find the channel, I guess. Sure, it could be low attention span viewers. That's true. We'll see. I don't know. This is all an experiment. I don't really know how it's going to go, but it's fine. I'm going to give it a shot and see how that works out. And we'll see. If people hate it, I'll stop doing it. But I don't think people will hate it. I think that we'll find a good rhythm, and it might be kind of fun. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, the longer videos will come out of it. I've already got one edited, like I said, and the other one about the actual project development will be coming out soon. I need to get ahead of the game on that because otherwise I'll get really behind and I just won't do it. Sort of like what happened with Flux Harmonic. Anyway, the project that I'm working on, for those of you who don't know, in the streams on Mondays and Wednesdays, is a website in Guile Scheme that's actually going to be a site for sharing which Emacs packages that you use. It's going to be an index of all the available Emacs packages across all of the repositories. Let's say ELPA, 9GNU, ELPA, MELPA, and potentially individual Git repositories that things that aren't on an existing package repo. The idea is that people should be able to share which packages they use on this website, and it kind of gives you a look at how many people are using certain packages and what packages they are being used with. And then maybe people can give tips on configurations for those packages, or maybe they can link to their own configurations and sort of show how they're using that specific package in their configuration. it's just an interesting idea. It may not be the greatest website in the world, but it is a real world example of writing a website with Guile Scheme. And it might be useful to the Emacs community. So we're building it from scratch. I'm not using any frameworks or anything aside from Fibers, but it's not really a framework per se. It's more of just like a concurrency library. And we're going to build it up from scratch. And we're going to use a database. And we're going to probably add some other stuff to it. We're going to deploy it with Geeks ultimately. And it's going to be a live website. So we're going to continue hacking on that over time. Just to see how it is to write a real-world Guile web application. Obviously, we'll have the web client aspect of it, which will just be normal HTML, JavaScript, CSS. But maybe we won't go so heavy on the JavaScript side. It would be nice if we could use Guile Hoot for all of the UI, but I'm hesitant to do that because not every browser, or let's say not every device has a new enough browser to use Hoot. So we might use Hoot on like an optional component of the UI, let's say, but it can't really be in the core stuff yet. But it might change in the future because I would really like to be able to write basically a single page app type interface with Hoot. But maybe another project will do that bit. But at least for the main website, it will be HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And that's part of the reason why we're going to be talking about generating CSS today. It's not directly related to the project, but it is sort of like a side quest for something that is related to the project, and it's a standalone thing. I think it won't take very long to implement, and we might have some fun doing it. So we'll talk about that more in a minute. All right, let me just take a little look-see in the chat. Let me just scroll back up a little bit. I know I've got the chat overlay and the IRC showing at the same time. That's great. Nakatani says, I feel like we were led to believe this would be a hot tub stream. I don't think I ever gave anyone an indication this would be a hot tub stream. All right. The short happened to be relevant to what I had been talking about right before I watched it. It's like you read my mind. Someone else said that too. See, that's the power of shorts, because I can read your mind and I can give you information. The kids these days like the TikToks. Yeah, but TikTok is a mess. Write your own HTTP server? I don't know. Not exactly. I don't really want to do that. I mean, maybe someday. One can see your CG on stream, your Control G. Yeah. Yeah, just have the chat on the right-hand side all the time. I don't know. I don't want to take up all the screen space because we need space to see things. Category, just chatting. Hot tub stream. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. So let me get over to the notes again. All right, let me get to the news because I haven't gotten to that yet, obviously. So first thing today, I literally just saw this be announced on one of the mailing lists for GNU. It is the GNU Artanis project has just released 1.1.0. I don't remember when 1.0 got released, but if you don't know, GNU Artanis is a web development framework for Guile Scheme. I would liken it to Ruby on Rails or things of that nature, Django, etc. The idea is that you have a sort of a framework for scaffolding web applications, so you can create, views and controllers and database like object relational models for databases, ORMs for databases, using Guile Scheme, and kind of more easily set up a whole website. Now, obviously, I should be using this for the project that I just mentioned, but I tend to like to write things from scratch and build up abstractions over time. So that's the reason why I'm not actually using it. However, it is interesting, and we will probably check it out pretty soon. But I just wanted to point out that there was a new release of this project in case anybody's interested in taking a look. There seems to be internationalization support added now. Multiple workers support, specify the number of workers in the server core. So I guess like background workers, temp directory. Yeah, so not a whole lot of stuff added, but just good to sort of keep track with the interesting projects that are being released in the world of of Guile Scheme. So I recommend people check that out if you're looking for a way to write web apps in Guile without having to go do everything yourself. I haven't gone into detail myself looking into the documentation about it. I did probably a couple years ago, but I think a lot of things have changed since then. So we will definitely go take a look at some point and sort of see what we can surmise about the features and applicability of Artanis. Next, I want to bring up again that the Sprightly Institute is having a fundraiser. I've been saying it for the last few weeks. The Sprightly Institute is working to build the foundations for a decentralized internet, or decentralized communities and distributed applications on the internet. They're good people. They're building a lot of really cool things around Scheme, especially when it comes to the object capability protocol. Still not going to say that right, but anyway, the idea is that you should be able to interact with other peers on the distributed decentralized network and in a safe way. And the code that the Sprightly Institute is creating will allow you to do that. I just think that the things that they do are cool. Obviously, they are working on Guile Hoot, which is kind of a big project there, and it's a thing that is very interesting to me because it allows you to write a scheme for the web browser via WebAssembly. So anyway, the point being, they are looking for more donations to help them to extend the life of what they do this year. So go take a look at the donation page at sprightly.institute/donate. And you can become a monthly supporter, or you can make a one-time donation. And as I keep mentioning, if you have an employer who makes matching donations to charitable or to nonprofit organizations like this one, you can get your employer to match on a one-time donation. I'm pretty sure that should be the case. So think about donating to Sprightly Institute to help them continue toward their mission of building distributed community-centric technology. Got it? Have you done it yet? You should do it, okay? All right, let me check the chat real quick before we get started into the main thing. SCC Copy says, first time 50 plus viewers on this stream. On which stream? On the Twitch stream or on the YouTube stream? Because the YouTube stream, we've had 50 plus many times. Many times. But if it's Twitch, I'm quite surprised. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anything? Kay says, I'm so boomer, I'm playing the 1812 Overture. All right. Fade says, YouTubers come to Twitch. Yeah, so I think that Fade is on a mission to get me to switch to Twitch primarily for streaming, which I wouldn't say no to, but a lot of people watch on YouTube so far. This is a 55 plus. Oh, this is a 55 plus stream. You mean like only people who are 55 and above can be on the stream? Speaking of which, I'm going to be 42 next month. Jeez. Stream specific as in you reached 50 today, not in general. Okay, thank you, thank you. What? Can't hear you without hearing aid. Yes, that's true. David Will not allowed on his own stream. Yeah, I'm not allowed. I can't be here, okay? All right. So, today, the goal is to come up with a nice little library, probably nothing that special, not that fancy, that will allow us to write CSS style sheets, so cascading style sheets, CSS, in Scheme, and generate the actual CSS file from the S expressions in Scheme. You probably have heard me talk about SXML before on this channel. You definitely did if you saw the stream on Wednesday. But SXML is a special it's not a syntax. It's just a way of organizing S expressions to make them easily translatable to XML. Let's see, SXML example, just so you can kind of see what this looks like. In fact, do I still have the code around? Where is it? Sites, emacspackages.com, source, main. Let me just see if I got it in here. I think I do have some in here. So this is from the stream on Wednesday. So basically it looks like this. You can see like we have a div and an H1 inside of it. And you actually can have nested expressions for inserting sublists, splicing sublists in. So it's basically a templatable language, sublanguage, you could say. I've got the HTML header stuff somewhere too. Where is that? It's right here. Okay, so SXML to XML, HTML, head, title, body. So it's basically just a way to organize XML-like information in S expressions. Now, why do I tell you that? Because I want to do the same thing for CSS. This is not a new idea. There's prior art for this. One place where I've seen this before is in the Clojure world. There's a library called Garden, and I think there's probably others that are similar there. Garden is a library that does allow you to generate CSS files out of Clojure's data structures, but Clojure data structures are a bit different than Scheme data structures because they have built-in hash map support basically, so you can do that key value style of object language pretty easily. You can't do that directly in Scheme. You can with A-lists, obviously, and that's sort of what we're doing in SXML. Like if you look at the attribute syntax, well, it's not exactly A-list, but it is kind of a pair sublist type syntax. So in this case, I know I'm kind of jumping all around. If you want to have like an ahref in HTML, you have A, and then you have this special little at symbols subsyntax, and then anything inside this list is it's a list of lists that represent the key and the value for the HTML attributes. So you would have to do something similar probably for CSS in Scheme, and that's fine. We'll try to do that. But the idea being that we should be able to pretty easily come up with a way to generate CSS from S expressions like this. And because you have the power of Scheme or Lisp backquoting, you can template your CSS files very simply through this kind of S expression-based syntax so that you can generate parts to your CSS. You can have a much more concise description of the CSS for a website in this sort of sub-language, and then have it be generated out into a file. Now, let me just go back to the org notes for a second just to say what we want to do. So basic generation of CSS from S expressions. Now we also need to support some of the more advanced CSS syntax. Now I'm not an expert on CSS. We'll have to sort of like get input from the audience and also look at things as we go to know what this actually means in practice. There's also some examples here, I believe, like child selectors, etc. Things of that nature we'll have to look into as we go, but that's fine. We'll take a look at it and see what we can do. What else did I want to say? Making it easy to serve generated CSS from a Guile HTTP server, and also making it easy to reevaluate the CSS code at runtime. So if you want to do like live tweaks of your CSS on your website while you're hacking in a REPL, how can you do that? Now, obviously in Common Lisp, that's pretty easy, or Clojure is pretty easy. Scheme is not necessarily as easy. It is easy-ish, but there can be gotchas sometimes, so we'll just have to get to it when we get to it. But we're going to start simple, and then we're eventually going to go to the REPL style workflow if we have time to do all that. Let me go back to the chat. I think Fade had a suggestion, or someone else had a suggestion up here before. Where was that link? Maybe I saw it in a different screen. Oh, here it is. It was Dave who had the suggestion. So there's a suggestion from Dave here about, I think this is one of the authors of Chicken Scheme, Designing the Lispy DSLs Part 1's SCSS. This is from 2012, okay? In Scheme, we can easily represent this as a list of items where each item is a list of selectors and values, and that's exactly what SCSS does. So there's some stuff here that we could probably use as an example. Some of this looks kind of wacky, though. Maybe they improve the syntax over time. What might a better SCSS look like? Yeah, I think that we're going to have to do something a bit more clean looking, because that's kind of wacky. But we might be able to rip some ideas off here. Why do we have, oh, okay, so maybe this is they're making their own selector syntax language. This is not like a normal Scheme or, this is part of the sub language. So that's something we can look into. with match expressions, finding this stuff will be pretty easy, and I think it should be possible to have a language in that way, I would say. So I'll drop that also into the show notes. Another example. So let me grab this one real quick. All right. Okay. INR says, interesting topic. Thank you. I'm glad someone thinks it's interesting. Judy says, actual achievement, follower goal hit on Twitch. Do I have a follower goal? I didn't even know. I don't know what I'm doing on Twitch. I literally never look at the website. Let me just check it on this screen. Twitch.tv. How many followers do we have on Twitch now? 772. Well, that's cool. Oh, 770. Okay, I think Twitch is automatically setting those goals up. All right. Morgan says, will the CSS be dynamically generated on every page request, or will it be some kind of module that is only used during deployment to write out the CSS file which browsers can cache? It could be done either way. That's for sure. Definitely the ideal way would be for the CSS file to be pre-generated and stored as a static file on a production deployment. You don't want it to be regenerating every single request. It wouldn't make very much sense. Now, it could be cached if you put an E tag in there, something that sort of represents a SHA hash or something of the content, a SHA-1 hash, or some relatively decent hash. Then a browser could, in theory, cache the output of your generated CSS and then not request it again. So that is a possibility, but it may be better just to statically generate it and then use it as a static file on the production server. Now, in a development mode, definitely having it be regenerated every request, or at least under some circumstances, would be nice for it to Shaolin hash. It's a Shaolin hash. That's right. We're going Wu-Tang on these hashes. What was I saying? During development, it's definitely nice to be able to dynamically generate it, or at least reload the configuration to make it possible to do live development of the style of the website while you're working on it. Okay. And what did Fade say here? Let's see. First one, then later the second one. I feel when you realize living in CL land spoils you with the embarrassment of riches in the library. Is it possible to write this library utility code in such a way that it's portable between various scheme implementations? Oh, yeah. I think this would be pretty simple. However, yeah, you did get me. You better stop. First, you're banning me from my own channel or kicking me from my channel. Now you're trying to distract me. And it just happened again. So it is possible. I would like to be able to use match expressions, and match expressions are not standardized. So that would put a little wrinkle in the plan to have it be portable between implementations. But I think ideally, yes, it would be portable between R7RS small implementations, conformant implementations. But anyway, I don't know. At least let's just write it first, and then we can make it portable if we decide to do so. And that could be done on another stream. Ashra says, I guess you could just read a file with your new CSS DSL, right? You mean like on demand? Kay says, is there not a Surfy for match/multiple? I don't know. Scheme Surfy match expression. Surfy 200. Okay, so Surfy 200 appears to be, it's withdrawn. All right, so it's not an active one anymore. There's 241. We're not going to spend much time on this because I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole. Catamorphisms. Simple pattern matching syntax to express catamorphisms on scheme data. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person that knows what a catamorphism is. Is this it? Okay. Yeah, this may be a better spec, and it is finalized. It's in final status. So this is a legit spec, 241 match. So this might be the one that people end up using if implementations implement it. Dave says, let's see. Ice9 match is the Shin pattern matcher, basically, so you can make the code portable, so don't let that stop you. But just write it for Guile, yeah. Surfy match situation is crazy. Well, I haven't really followed up on that, but as we could just say, oh, hey, Daphne, nice to see you. Daphne says, Shin's matcher is portable syntax rules. Yeah, so seems we could just someone could use that if they wanted to. So match is okay, right? Match is not a big deal. We can use match. So we got that. All right, so I will use match, but match is only necessary if we start adding like sub syntaxes, sort of like what you saw in that chicken scheme author article. I should probably say what his name is instead of just like saying chicken scheme guy. But yeah, if you have sub syntaxes, it's definitely good to have match because you can decompose those things pretty easily. All right. Daphne says, a surfy situation for pattern matching is not good. I'm working on it. Daphne, I was about to do a stream today about R7RS large. And I was looking around at some of the stuff, and I'm like, okay, I need to like take a little bit more time to read into this and maybe actually talk to you about it. So maybe in the future, if you want, you can come join me on a stream. We could talk about R7RS large because I would like to talk about it. And in fact, the reason why I thought to talk about it is also related to Chicken Scheme, because Chicken Scheme 6.0.0 preview, what is it called? There's a post that just came out about Chicken Scheme 6. I don't know where I saw it, but they were talking about R7RS large having too much stuff in it, and I kind of wanted to discuss that idea. Because I don't really know. I haven't really looked at the whole spec, so I don't know what's in there, actually. And I know that there's sort of 3 levels to it. So it would be good to have a chat about sort of what the design of that is and where it's headed. Because I know there's some ambitious plans about when certain parts are going to be finished. Kay says, I'm so hype about Chicken 6. Yes, cluck, cluck. I'm telling you, man. Chicken, I know Chicken is good tech, but I just don't like that name. What can I say? That's their new slogan, cluck cluck. All right, anyway. All right, so let's get back to the actual task at hand. In fact, maybe what I'll do is just go into the main.sem file I'm already working in, or maybe do a little side project in there. Whoops. Daphne says, knowing Greek does not get you very far with interpreting the morphism names, especially once you get to the hylomorphism or helomorphism. Is that how it would be pronounced if it was Greek? I still don't really understand what it's supposed to have to do with wood. That might be a xylomorphism because xylo is wooden. I don't know. Holy morphism. We got the mighty morphism Power Rangers going on in the chat here. Forget that I said that. I'm sorry. So back to it. All right. So we're going to start with some real simple stuff here. It's going to be terrible. Sorry. It's okay, though. We're going to have some fun. All right. So let's say define. We can't really call it SCSS. Can we? Or can we? Because there is already something called SCSS, but I'm just going to call it SCSS to CSS here because that follows the SXML to XML. I guess I should use a port for this. Is port the first parameter of the SXML Guile? Let's see. No. SXML to XML. So tree and port. Port is the second parameter. All right. So tree, port. Technically optional. I probably should use a defined star on that. Is that right? And then let's just do some real basic dumb stuff. All right. So like H1. Now, just to give myself something to work with, I'm going to go grab the CSS for the System Crafters website because I don't remember what CSS looks like until I go look at it again. So this is what we're going to do. Just to have some stuff to look at. All right, so HTML. And then we have basically the key value pairs at that point. So we're going to start with SXML-like syntax, and we'll move on to maybe something a little bit less verbose, if we can think of what that would be. Font size, 16 px. All right, so there's that. That would be something. But probably we need to have the ability to have multiple rules here, CSS rules, because obviously there's going to be multiple in a file, so it needs to be a list of lists. We're not going to worry about the media query stuff yet because that is kind of wacky, you know, having all the predicates and the syntax. So we'll skip that for now. I'll also do a body. And we can do margin of 0. Font family of, here we go. We got a list of items, so we're going to have to do that as well. So Jost star and sans serif. That could be a string too, probably. And then line height of 1.5. Color. I'm not going to write the whole file. I'm just going to write enough that it just looks like a real file with output, right? 292D3E, all right? Got that. So that should be enough. And if we want to call this, we probably need to have a port. Actually, I don't need that. I can use with is with output port, right? Or port current output port. Would that be enough? Let's make that look a little bit better. There we go. And Emacs doesn't want to indent that correctly. Maybe it's because I'm not writing it correctly. Yeah, okay, with output to port. That's why it's not. There we go. Okay, so, blah. That's our first output, because who cares? We just need to be able to run this. And in theory, we could just like run it in the REPL too, so. Wrong type to apply unspecified. Did that actually work though? What doesn't it like? Don't think I have a typo. I could go ahead and pass in the parameter though, just in case. Wait, that's not right, is it? Okay. Let's hop to the chat because I'm sure people are yelling at me that I did something wrong. Okay, says, why is the at needed in CSS? There are no attributes in CSS really. Well, there's key value pairs. Okay. Wax CA Tape says, on the bright side, if you write chicken, you can name your projects names like Kung Pao. Do we want to do that? Or CS Scheme. That's right, Judy. There's a list system called last, which might be useful to look at for how to approach the domain. Yeah, we'll do that whenever I realize that I'm in over my head. Yeah, of course, Yukari Hafner has already written something like this. Font family will bite you. Will it? I don't think so. Think about combining things like border, 1px solid. Those must not be intercalated, so your current approach on font family will most likely lead to issues. Give me a suggestion. I'll definitely take it. Yeah, what does intercalated mean? Join the strings with a comma. Purple G says, open the REPL to IRC, let us do it. No, we're not doing that. Why not use lists? Maybe. We'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it. Okay. I mean, the assumption could be that, well, okay. I'm not gonna make that assumption yet. Let's just keep moving. We're gonna improve this as we go, right? Ashra says, don't take only pairs, but instead key plus attribute list. But I have no idea whether that is idiomatic guile scheme. Well, that, I mean, it's you could do it for sure. What I don't understand is why we're getting a complaint here. Unless it's something inside this procedure. Am I supposed to be pulling in a particular... Yes, Booba. All right. So Lambda and define star. I don't have to pull in any specific library for that, huh? Doesn't look like it. So I'm very confused then. Why it's unspecified means it thinks it doesn't actually have the procedure defined. Let's check that out. There is a procedure. So what is not defined? Current output port, that's defined. It's an output port. So what's the problem? The fact that this is backquoted shouldn't matter. Anybody see it? What is going on here? Because the procedure looks right. Let's go into the REPL and just try something really quick. Wrong type to apply, unspecified. Oh, dude. I need a thunk. Don't I? Is it a thunk? Or is it a procedure that takes the port? Call with... Yeah, thunk. All right. So, but hold on. Call with output string. Okay. Thunk, thunk, thunk. That's the problem. Boom. Blah. Okay. So, we've got the initial output, which is total BS. So now we got to start doing the real thing. So what we'll do is go through each item in the list. So let me think about this for a minute. I mean, we could do a little for each style deal, or we could do a named loop, named let. Links in description aren't working. Which links, hi? Which links aren't working? Because there's a lot of them in there. I'll pull the chat up on another screen so I can at least see what's going on. So Ashra says, what is the difference between define and define star? Define star is a special thing in Guile that allows you to have optional parameters, optional parameters and keyword parameters on procedure definitions. It is possible to have optional parameters technically in normal scheme because there's a different form of define where define foo dot or foo x dot rest, where rest will be a list with any remaining parameters, and if you just do foo dot rest, then rest will be all parameters would be optional, but it would give you a list of all parameters given to the procedure whenever you execute it. So That's sort of like the built-in syntax, but then Guile has its own special defined star and lambda star, which gives you a bit more convenient syntax that you might be used to from other languages. So for each lambda, let's see, rule. I don't know if you want to call that a rule. Is it a rule? And we want to get the car off of the element. We could destructure that. I mean, we could even do like a recursive match expression, probably, to do this. Let me think about this. Also like a match lambda. So let's just try a match. Think about that for a second. So we're gonna match on rule. Sorry, on tree. Yeah, let me think. Because we need to be able to call it recursively. Guile ice9 match. I know I should be doing this in the info system, but whatever. All right, so we got match lambda that returns a lambda that can be called, but it's not recursive. Match let. Locally bind variable to a new procedure which accepts as many arguments as there are init expressions. I mean, I guess I could just define a match lambda and have it be able to call itself, but it seems a little bit weird to do that. Or define a procedure separately. Define rule matcher. I don't know. Pretty sure that's right, isn't it? Oh, okay. No. So, first of all, we need to look for element. Is it element? What is the structure? Like, what is the grammar of CSS files? Simple selector element name. All right, we're not gonna like implement the entire grammar here, but we're just gonna have all right, so element name, or we'll just say element, right? And it also needs to have the remaining stuff in there. Man, I feel like I'm gonna do this wrong. Because I'm trying to come up with something relatively elegant here, and I think I should probably just do it brute force and then go back. See you, Purple G. All right. Let me just roll back for a second and not be stupid. So define. Let me just walk through my thought process. So we need a match on an element name for each rule. And then there may be special syntax to what is contained within each rule. So selector or simple selector. What is hash in this case? Okay, gotcha. You probably can't read this, can you? Class attrib pseudo. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in there. I mean, I'm kind of thinking we're going to just like directly map it anyway. So it's like I really need to worry too much about understanding the CSS syntax because I'm not validating. I'm just sort of like translating. Yeah, Oshraz is correct. The show notes aren't working yet because they're not pushed because I've just written them and they're not pushed to the website yet. Okay. So just for the sake of simplicity, we're going to start with this because that's the easiest thing to do. So we've got the element, and then we're going to be explicit about the symbol here. I think that's... Do I have to do it this way? I think there's a way to do... Here we go. Let's just do that. I'm not a match expression master, so I might make some mistakes on this. So if we have element and attributes, then first of all, let me just write them out. Format T, just for the sake of curiosity. There we go. I need to put a little new line in there too. And then on the for each, I need to go through what's in tree. Okay. Get a lambda there. Let's delete that. Close everything out. Okay, so possibly unbound variable. I need to go and eval that use modules. Now that evaluates, and this writes out match error, no matching pattern, body margin O. Okay. So it seems to have matched the first one. I think, yeah, maybe... Yeah, it should have given me the right thing, right? Evacuator says Emacs users always be scheming something. Maybe. I don't know if it's not printing the previous one because it hasn't flushed yet. But let's take this out for a moment just to see if it has anything to do with the issue. Can you like comment the lines out, please? Thank you. Okay, so we did write it. HTML font size 16px. This probably needs to be like a ... or something, right? Okay, so font size 16px. I think that's gonna fix this problem. So let's do that. Oops. At margin. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can dispense with the at syntax. Anyway. And you're saying, why are you such a chicken? Because I'm not writing chicken scheme, that's why. Okay, there you go. Now I gotta fix the syntax. Climerio21 says, I wish the Lisp syntax is more understandable for me. You just gotta look at it long enough. I find it to be quite elegant, but that's just me. Okay, so let's get rid of this part. Let me check the match expression spec because I think I'm doing something wrong here. List of in elements. Let's see. So identifier, anything that binds an identifier. There's the empty list. There's also a list. Fade says a trick about Lisp syntax is that Lisp doesn't have any syntax. Well, technically, no. List of in elements. Well, we don't know how many there are. Am I still on Geeks? Oh, yes. Anything and binds identifier, right? Isn't there like a dot in here somewhere too? So what if I do element dot attributes? Okay, cool. That worked. That's what I expected to see. So we matched element to attributes. I mean, that's kind of stupid. That's just a way to pull the head and the cooter off of the list that's coming through, but that's a starting point. So we matched it to do the extraction and bind to element and attributes, and now we can write those out. So I could do something a little bit nicer here and write it out like this. And then for each of the attributes, so let's throw a little new line there. And then for attributes, we're going to put in map. Is this Emacs with Vim mode? No, this is almost vanilla Emacs, meaning it doesn't have a whole lot of configuration. Waxy Tape says try elements at dot attributes. Yes. Okay. So we need to do a string join after decomposing the key value pair. So let's map them first. Okay, we're gonna map them to format them into a string, not to the output yet. So format F. We're gonna have we'll do some basic indentation. We're gonna have to deal with levels at some point, which is not a big deal. So the new line, and then we'll print out. Probably do another match here. Key value. Just a good way to pull things out. In fact, probably should do a match lambda on that. Match lambda. So key value and then key value. We'll start with that. And that's over attributes. And that is over the format. Okay. That looks okay. So we got something here. What are we looking at? All right, it's printing out the list for the font size. I think that's the reason why it looks kind of wacky. So font size 16px. Oh, we don't want the dot there. That's wrong. So we are getting the key value pairs written out somewhat correctly. But there is a list at the beginning. That's because we're doing the map here. So we need to do a string join in front of the map. And we're going to join it together with new lines. I mean, I suppose I could just do a for each on those two and print them out. And not have to join it all. So let's just do it that way. Unspecified. Oh, right. So we'll do that first. The format on the element. Okay, we're going to do this here. And then after the for each, we're going to do another format on the final closing bracket. And then do that again. Okay, so we've got some basic output now. So HTML, font size 16 pixels. The only thing that isn't really great at this moment is the font family issue. So we're going to have to become a little bit more sophisticated here. Let me look back through some of the comments that we were getting before to see what people were saying about what we should do for that format. I know Ashraz has some ideas. Font family is tricky to attribute because it handles alternatives. So yeah, I guess it really depends on what the individual property value expects. But maybe this is a matter of, does there need to be like a syntax like that? Like you have a special symbol? Ashra says the Sprightly donation page had a link to an arcade and I got nerd sniped. Is it nerd sniped if you got caught by games? See ya, Anders. So, what do you think? That doesn't look like valid syntax, does it? Why does it give me errors here? Is that is it considered a comment line? Because what we want to say is a list of alternatives. There was like an or syntax in that article we looked at before. So let's take a look real quick. Equal class foo color orange div margin left px1. Okay, so they're using like nested procedures to generate certain things. That makes sense. Or equal class foo bar or ID is quux. Sure, you could do that stuff. I mean, let's go look at what Garden does, because maybe that's a better sort of direct translation example. I wonder how it deals with the font thing, though. Because the examples don't really give me the indication that they have more advanced support for things people would do. Font family. Oh, so they're literally making you write it out yourself. So the value would be the literal string of all the possible options there. So they're not really helping you with the sub-syntax, it seems. Which is a little bit of a cop-out, I think. The Helvetica, Comic Sans line on the scheme example was actually getting there. Case says, I love Common Lisp. It's so good. We'll have to see about that. What has Case written here? He's got a loop. Font 18 pix divided by 1.4. Name, values, and attributes. Seems pretty procedural, which is fine. SCSS Plus uses Helvetica, Comic Sans, Sans Serif. Oh, so they're using a different syntax basically for indicating those things. Okay. So if it's a list, I guess what I need is like a print value type thing. So values can be printed differently based on what they are. So define display value. Probably good to take a port. And then, first of all, format port. That could be enough. And I think using format is probably, yeah. Let's start with that. Oh, it needs to have a semicolon at the end too. I missed that part, right? Okay, match lambda. Display value, didn't evaluate that yet. Boom. Wrong number of arguments to display value. So in this case, okay, let's not do port. Let's just let it be whatever the current output port is. Okay, so it's not displaying the value yet. Oh, format F, that's why. Okay, so now we have that example there. Here on display value, we're gonna have to do a match. In fact, this could probably be a match lambda again. In this case, it would be value. Well, let's do the sublist first. So if it's a list, how do you know if it's a list though? Like that. Kind of a weird little match on that. So we would want to format everything joined. This is probably super inefficient and terrible. But that's okay. I know I'm reconstituting the list here also, which seems a little bit weird, but that's just the way to get the match to work on that. So the next one would be just a plain value, which would be a plain format. Whoops, I forgot to have this be true. I don't do display here because I want it to be the printable version, but maybe display is right, isn't it? Can I just display item? But I need to have a comma between them. Ah, the comma is supposed to come from here. Okay, let me get back, get my brain back in check. It needs a space too. So string join, is it a character or a string? String delimiter. Okay, cool. There's that. Then we have format true. Okay, so font family is not being rendered correctly still. Because it's not matching, it seems. Either that or not. Oh, I'm not printing it out. That's why. Okay. So Joss star stands to now, there is a problem here. Because the quotation marks are getting stripped off that string. Maybe I don't want that. Maybe I actually want it to be written using display. That's interesting. Let's check the chat. Mission successful? Oh, yeah. Scheme has keywords? Yeah, sort of. It says, I probably should take David Will's course so I'm not blathering away with elementary questions in these streams. I don't know. I mean, you don't need to do that. Thanks, Wax CA tape. Okay, so a string feels like it needs to come out as a quoted string. Does display do that? Let's go back to the REPL. Oh, I'm in the REPL, right? No, that's the debug. Yes, that doesn't display it with the parameters. What do you do to display it? Is it right? Yeah, right. Okay. What if I write a float or a double, like, type thing? Okay, so that writes correctly. So, oh, and then what if I write... Okay, so it doesn't quote it. That's good. So write is better in this case. I can format, or at least display, 2 spaces. No, that's not the right place. It's for the value. In fact, at this point, I could just say write. I think. There we go. So it's quoted. Font size 16 pixels, Jost star. That's looking better, right? Wait, hold on. That's not right. Wrong type, expecting string, unspecified. In string append? That must be in string join. Yeah, right. It's not going to give me what I want. It doesn't return a string back. It's almost like... Alexa says, do you use Vim keys? No, I do not. I used to, but I no longer do. So always the thing with doing these kinds of loops is if you have to do the loop yourself, like if you want to print everything out manually, then you have to, okay, you have to do the comma placement without writing it after the last item. So you can definitely do that with a named let, but it's a little bit more code. I'm trying to avoid that if I can. I could recursively call display value. Maybe that. This won't be properly tail recursive, though, if I do it this way. Ah, but it won't matter. Hold on a second. Because eventually you'll get to... match rules, selector styles. You might be right. There's only some way to join strings together but not print something at the end. I'm doing that, but I'm trying to use write. So Guile scheme write port. I want to do it without having to use a string port because that's kind of inefficient. I mean, yeah. Screw it. So before writing any value in a list, yeah, pretty much everything requires me to print after the recursive call, which is not what I want to do. Maybe it's just unreasonable to assume that I can do this properly tail recursively. I mean, there's another way to do it, which is really inefficient, which is basically reverse the list or add them to a list in reverse order, then reverse the list and then join them using string join. But that's terrible. That's too many loops. AE517 says, would you look at that? I was watching a video of yours, just open Twitch, and you're the first recommended. Well, that's great. Glad to hear that. Let loop has entered the chat. Yes. Let loop is great. It's just that you have to think of things recursively, and then sometimes it will melt your brain. Like in this case, I feel like I've written something like this before, and I can't remember what I did. So look, I need to do have a tail recursive loop, a properly tail recursive loop where we don't print the comma after the last item. The way to do that would be if I'm passing things through, well, it's not exactly true. Am I overthinking this? I tend to overthink things. Screw it. Yeah, there's really cheesy ways to do this. And I don't want to go down that route. You need a case where it's the end of the list and null. But still, it doesn't work because you still have to print after the recursive call. So you're making it not properly tail recursive anymore. This is trivial if nil is the end of the empty list. Well, I mean, you can still do that with scheme. Is there a way to display the written version? Because write only writes to port. I mean, I guess I can do that. It just seems really dirty to do it that way. So let's go back to this. So it's not right, is it? No, it's not plain right. We want to have a lambda. With output a string, thunk, write item, which just feels really dirty. All right, so if we got that, then const head rest, and then comma space, close it out, and then go run it again. Wrong type expecting string unspecified. That's for string append, but I'm not using string append anywhere, but it must be the string join. So let's do this. Format T and didn't even get there. Oh, there's an N here. How did I get there? Probably should have fixed that. There we go. So there's no comma, and this looks like a list. So that needs to be fixed. And I think the reason why it's doing this, that shouldn't be the case, should it? It's wrong anyway. There's no quotation marks. We totally lost the quotes. So Dave says, if you don't want a comma after the last item, add a match clause for a single element list. Still, then you don't have to render to strings and string join them, which is, I agree, is unideal when trying to emit this code. Yeah, you all said that, but we're still calling it recursively. Okay, so let me just show you then. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So sure, I can pull the head off and then print, but you still have to recursively call display value on the rest of it. So you lose tail recursion, which maybe that's fine. Who knows? I don't know. Like I don't like writing recursive loops that aren't tail recursive if I can avoid it. So if we're to follow what is being suggested, what we'll have here is head and rest, where rest is actually a... So I think we need to add the one for nil first, right? Oops, not nil, but false. You have to send for each item, yeah. So head and false. We're just gonna use write to write out the, what is, oh, head, yeah, right? Yes, thanks, Mr. CTO. All right, so we're writing out head. And then for a head rest, we will write head. Then we will display comma. Then we will display value rest. That is what's being suggested here. So, oh, it's not that, it's empty list. My bad. So that works. Sure, that works fine. I mean, that works fine from the perspective that the algorithm works and it looks clean, but it's definitely not tail recursive. Actually, am I stupid? I am stupid. Well, you were right, Dave, in the end. I'm just being dumb today. I'm being dense. It's because I'm writing the comma before I write the display value. So, just shows that the lack of sleep is getting to me. All right, so for color, though, I also need to make sure that I write that out correctly. So the single value case needs to be written as a write here also. I don't know if this is going to work in every single case, but that's the assumption we're making here, is that for a plain value, we're just going to use write to write that out. Boom. Now color strings are being represented correctly. Okay, so now we're at a point where we've got pretty decent looking output for the things that we're doing so far. And the syntax is not too bad. So we need to move on to the next possible thing. So there's a few things we can do with in CSS with multiple selectors for a given rule. So if I were to go down to H1, I have one here that has like H1 to H6. They all have the same set of parameters being set or attributes being set, so we can try to replicate that as well. So in this case, it would be H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. And then after that, we would say, whoops, I don't know what I just pressed. Font weight is 600. Line height is 1.3. Margin top is 1.3 rem. Now we're just going to use that as a symbol name. I'm hoping that works. I think it will work. Margin bottom. Whoops, I got a little colon there. Let's get that out. Wait. 0.5 rem. And color is EEFFFF. Thanks, Trev, for saying that you're not really paying attention. I appreciate that. Okay. So now we've got a rule with multiple selectors. And now to support that, we're going to have to go into our match expression and be able to cope with that. So in this case, we're going to have a... Let's see, what would that be? It's like a dot, dot, dot. Does that work? Getting in trouble with a teacher. What? Oh. Yeah, Trev didn't say it. So you both have nicks that are the same length, so it's very easy for me to miss it when I'm looking at it. And your messages were right next to each other. So I'm sorry, Trev, that I attributed to you was case. All right, fine. Checking match syntax again. 0 or more. Okay. One or more. Probably, yeah. There's too many 4-letter names in the chat. I can't really tell anymore. Okay. Does this work? Does that work like that? I don't know if this is gonna work. We will just print it out for now. Format T Manny. I don't know. Whatever. Just curious. And that's wrong. That's mega wrong. 0 or more, 1 or more. Maybe. Kay says, is this better with a much longer name? You don't want to dox yourself, buddy. All right. So this is a little bit greedy here, I think. So I think it needs to be element. How do they usually do that pattern? 1, 2, etc. A list of n or more. Right. Okay. So I think it needs to be a sub list. I think that was my mistake, is doing it that way. See a case. All right, so element. So the OOO. I don't want the element 1 and element 2. I mean, I guess like decomposing the list itself is a way to do that, but it's kind of gross, in my opinion. Element, rest. There's got to be a syntax that I'm missing that will do that. Okay, so no, that didn't work the way that I expected it to at all. Oh, because I missed this part. This needs to be dotted also. Right, there it is. Okay, so now we have the ability to get the multiple selectors. And it's basically the same. So maybe I need a display or write, let's say. Define write. Yeah, I'm trying to bind that so I don't have to const again. I want to get the list of the elements without. I want to recognize the list of elements and get them into one binding without having to do a const. So let me just extract this out real quick. Oops, I want to copy that or cut it, let's say. Hold up. That was a mistake. Just this part. Even the other part too. They're both the same. Let's just go with this for now. Is it? Oh, matches pattern in a tree and binds identifier to the path leading to the object that matches pattern. Binds identifier to the path leading to the object that matches pattern. Maybe. I mean, we could try it. So that would be like that, perhaps. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay, so elements. It is really weird. I don't know why they like put that in like that, elements, because I've never looked at that before. That's why I was so confused to see it. Never seen that pattern before. Whoop, get out of here. Right attributes. Yeah, I never evaluated that. It's pretty ugly. That's true. Control Alt Q on this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so. I just evaluated it. What the hell? Oh, unbalanced parens? Well, thanks. Okay, now we're good. Does what have meaning outside the REPL? Fade. Daphne says, what it means is that X *** E match against A, B, C, D, E would bind X to A, D. Ooh. So it's not exactly right, is it? Well, it doesn't have meaning outside of the match expression. So it's a syntax. So the REPL isn't really relevant here. It's just the fact that it's a scheme syntax. All right. So we're about to be out of time here. Okay. So let's see if it works the way that Trev suggests. No, I'm not getting the exact thing that I'm expecting to see, unless I put the thing in wrong. Okay, let's just go back to what we had before, because I'm not sure that's what I think it is. Const element rest. Maybe Daphne has a better idea. Okay. Cool. So we're back to what was being recognized before, but we still need to write those out. So that could just be a simple string join on the names. Daphne says, in my opinion, Alex should never have implemented this, or rather he should have made a separate matcher for it. Yeah, I agree. It seems so wacky that it feels a little bit out of place. Uses a naive string search type algorithm where there are well-known generalizations of automaton-based search to find this to this kind of tree application. Maybe it didn't need the extra parens. Maybe not, but I think it feels wrong to not have the parens, because then you kind of have like a multiple match things in a line. Your ideas are seldom good. I don't know. I think you know more about this than I do. So, okay, so I'm basically just gonna change this format here. Obviously, this needs to be brought out into a separate procedure. I probably should have done that the other way, but whatever. Format T. Let's just get it working because the stream is almost done. Nope. There we go. And it's the same thing as before. It is write attributes. And here it's going to be a string join. Is that right? Is that what I want? So I need to print them. Maybe it's a similar thing though. It's like a write. Display value. That's a cheap way to do it, but maybe that's what needs to be done right now. So let's do that. display value. Whoops. Maybe it could have been done either way. Okay, so that worked, and that sort of worked. We got an unspecified at the end, which definitely looks wrong. Why would that be the case? Do I have a problem? What the hell? That's interesting. Is that a symbol syntax? What am I looking at? It's not what I expected. Interesting that unspecified is popping up here. In display value. Let's see, you got that. I'm confused. Maybe the destructuring has something to do with it somehow? Colon. Yeah, there's something like right at the end of the display value output that's given an, oh, it's the, wait a second. The result of display value is being written. Is that what's happening? Yeah, because I'm an idiot. Okay, all right. We don't want that. We want to write display value. Okay, got it. Write display value, then display a plain old parenthesis. Sorry, it's late. Colon. Also, this used to be plain display, right? That needs to be format. This could be display. Okay, there we go. Boom. That is a little bit wrong, though. What did I break? Well, clearly I needed what I had there before. And then a new line. Come on. Cool. All right, so it works. I don't know what the deal is with this, though. That clearly is wrong. I guess I should probably figure out what that turns into. So, in the REPL, I mean, it's quoted. Is Scheme treating that as a unit somehow? So if I were to say 1.3 REM, okay, so it's a certain syntax. The selectors are not correct. The selector rules no colon. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Ashraz, or left pad. Thank you. All right. Fix that. There we go. Thank you. Obviously, we never tested this in the browser, so we didn't know that there was an error there. This is bad. So for symbols, we should not be printing them out with write, because apparently it will quote them in a way that makes them remain symbols. So I think there's a way to check for a symbol. Or just do this. If symbol value display symbol, otherwise write the value. Okay. Oh, what was that? I messed that up. There we go. Right there. Boom, boom. And, oh, wow. Live coding at this time of night is problematic. Still doing it. Hold up. Oops. Need more monster. Did it actually compile? I think so, yeah. Okay, it prints it out like that every time. How about symbol to string? Okay. So it appears that is the trick in this case. So it can be right either way. Let's invert this a little bit then. In this case, right if symbol value, symbol to string value, otherwise just value. Boom, boom, boom. That's right, isn't it? Okay. Ooh. Okay, we don't want to use... That's not right, is it? Is it right? I don't think that's right. I think it needs to be... So let's invert our inversion. Okay. This will be display. And finally, we have it. Okay. That was a mess. So that looks okay. I mean, that looks like what I would expect. But this is also very naive, and it doesn't really support a whole lot of things that are necessary. This is probably good for a really basic CSS file. However, other things, like... Well, let's see. Can we replicate something like a hover, a focus? Maybe we can do that real quick. I'm sure that will work. Well, famous last words. So, a hover, a focus. That would be color 8 to AAFF. Seems to be right, doesn't it? Yeah, that seems to be right. Anything else like dot anchor would work. Dot anchor hover would work. Let's see what else. Maybe it's just the media query syntax at this point that would be a problem. I mean, how would I even represent media query syntax? If I were to go up to the top and I wanted to do this media screen. Maybe if I look for at media specifically. Seems a little bit hacky, though, in my opinion. We kind of need it to be like that. And then, oh, then you have nested rules. So you would need to recursively do the rules, which is okay. I think it can be done. In this case, HTML font size 16px and dot logo max width 200px. So something like that could work, but it's not going to work right now, obviously, but it would work if I added the logic for it. Okay, so we'll just leave that out. That's something that needs to be added. So but I think this is okay, right? It's not bad. It does the job. And it also gives you the ability to do things like maybe we have the same color in these two places. So let's say if I wanted to define a color, this is for define FG color, let's say. EEFFFF. Turn this to a back quote. And then say FG color. Now we have variables that we can use inside of our CSS. FG color. And I didn't evaluate FG color yet, so that needs to be evaluated first. And then, whoops. All right, now we've got the color still coming up the right way. So yeah, we can just define variables the way that you would normally define, because this is actual scheme code, and then you can use them in the back-quoted CSS syntax that we are using to spit that out. So it's cool. I mean, it will work. I'm more or less happy with how that looks for now. So Ashra says the list of element names can be ambiguous because do you mean H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nested versus alternative? So Omar says, why not follow the SXML style to be able to support nesting? HTML at nested tag at more styles. We started with that, and I got some suggestions not to do that. I mean, I don't really see why. It would make things a little bit more obvious. Like, for instance, in this case where you have the multiple elements, if you had the at syntax, then it does become a little bit more clear where the attributes start, but it is a bit more of a pain to write, so it would be nicer if you didn't have to do that. But we kind of have to see whether in every case it's legible and makes sense and is pattern matchable, I guess. So I don't know. That's up for the for you all to decide, I suppose. Okay, so that was fun. I got stuck on some dumb stuff here and there, but that's okay. I mean, this live coding, it's nighttime. I haven't eaten dinner yet. So I'm just going to use every excuse I possibly have at my disposal to absolve myself from looking stupid. Right? So this will be rolled into the project that we're going to be working on the Monday and Wednesday streams. I mean, it's already in the code base. We will definitely use it in the project because I've been wanting to do something like this for a while with Scheme, just sort of have a way to describe CSS in Scheme without having to go write a CSS file. So you'll see this again for sure. And we might break it out into a separate library at some point. There may already be stuff like this. I have not seen a Guile library for this yet, but maybe Artanis has something for this, but who knows, maybe not. But we might be able to put this into a library. And if we do that, we need to flesh out a bit more. So any of you who are interested in supporting more cases in CSS, let me know. And I might be able to throw this up in a repo somewhere. We could hack on it together and maybe take a look at it again in another stream after people have made some contributions. I'd be happy to do that. Aside from that, I think that's it for today. I think that we're at the end of the time. I'll put the code for this into the show notes so you can check it out for yourself and play around with it and give me feedbacks, leave comments in the stream recording if you want to, or on the forum post for the stream, or send me an email if you want to. At any rate, I hope you all have a really great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. You'll probably see my face again this weekend because I'll probably post another video. Just because I have to be a YouTuber, I have to actually do something. I can't just be like doing streams once a week. So, yeah, you'll see me again, but you'll see me on Monday anyway. So until next time, happy hacking, and we'll see you. Thanks.